Be prepared. The silence before the full moon is not emptiness. It's a spiritual test. June 12th is not just the day before another lunar phase. It's the final veil. The last breath before your hidden emotions rise to the surface. And if you're too exposed, too distracted, too connected to the wrong energies, you might miss what your soul has been trying to whisper all along. Have you felt it? That urge to cancel plans, to turn off your phone, to go quiet? It's not avoidance, it's alignment. The universe is not punishing you with isolation, it's preparing you with protection. Because this is the void, the threshold, the place where old patterns loosen their grip and new frequencies begin to form. But only if you're still enough to receive them. This is your sacred pause before everything changes. Will you let the noise distract you? Or will you honor the silence that's calling you back to yourself? Why isolation? Before the full moon is not optional. June 12th is not just another date. It is the sacred day before culmination. The final breath before the moon reaches its full radiance. But here's what most don't understand. The day before the full moon is not for action. It's not for decision, confrontation, or exposure. It's for withdrawal, isolation, quietude. Not as a punishment, but as spiritual protection. Because the moon, in her fullness, does not rise gently. She pulls at everything inside you, your emotions, your memories, your unresolved longings. And before she shines her light, she stirs the shadow. That's why June 12th feels different. Your nervous system picks it up before your mind can name it. The air is heavier. People's energy is louder. Your inner world becomes louder still. Have you ever noticed how arguments erupt just before the full moon? How you suddenly feel anxious, sad, agitated without clear cause? That's the pre-full pressure. The body knows what's coming. The soul feels the shift long before the eyes see it. And on June 12th, you're not being asked to do more. You're being asked to unplug from the noise, the people, the distractions, not to hide, but to hear. Because here's the truth. Whatever energy you carry into the full moon gets amplified. And if you're full of other people's noise, unresolved drama, digital chatter, that's what will be magnified. This day is a detox, a vibrational cleanse, a spiritual exhale. It's where the old clings for dear life, and the new waits for permission to be born. You might feel the urge to cancel plans without knowing why. You might feel suddenly uninterested in social media, overwhelmed by conversations, irritated by environments that normally feel neutral. Don't ignore that. It's your intuitive field heightening. Your soul is pulling you inward because something alright is approaching. Have you asked yourself lately, why am I so tired even after resting? Why do I feel full and empty at the same time? Why do I sense something's about to change, but I can't explain what? These are the signs. They come before revelation, but only if you make space to receive. This isolation is not about loneliness. It's about alignment. The void before the full moon is a womb of transformation. And inside it, your soul is being reconfigured, rewired, remembered. But if you keep pushing through, keep absorbing noise, keep numbing the tension, you miss the whisper. The one that says, this is what you're meant to release. This is who you're ready to become. The ancient mystics knew The final day before a full moon was not to be shared. It was to be sat with, silently, honestly, without mask or performance. Because when the moon rises, she doesn't care about the version of you the world sees. She illuminates what's real. And the question is, will you be brave enough to face it? So pause, retreat, light a candle, turn down the volume. Don't seek validation. Don't explain your need to be alone. Trust it. The real work is happening behind the eyes, beneath the skin, in the spaces where no one sees. And it's there, in that sacred stillness, that the moon will find you. And what she reveals might just free you. There are days when the spiritual atmosphere becomes so charged, so subtly intense, that anything you do or fail to do has the power to shape your entire emotional field for weeks ahead. June 12th is exactly that kind of day. On the surface, it may seem uneventful, but vibrationally, it is thunderous, because this is the final stretch before the full moon opens its portal. And the decisions you make in this short window carry long echoes. The first thing you must understand, this is not a day for outward engagement. You may feel pressured to resolve conflicts, respond to messages, fix something that's been left open. Don't. That impulse comes from your mind's fear of stillness, not your soul's wisdom. This is a day for spiritual surrender, not control. And anything that drags you into reaction, drama, or overstimulation will only entangle you further into karmic webs you were about to exit. Avoid emotional entanglements at all costs. If a conversation feels off, if someone demands your energy, if a situation triggers your old wounds, pause. Not every emotion needs to be processed in real time. Not every message requires an immediate reply. On June 12th, the emotional energy is raw, exposed, and unfiltered. And whatever you engage with will go deeper than usual, which means arguments can become soul wounds. Misunderstandings can become spiritual scars. Even small distractions can disconnect you from the message the moon is preparing to give you. Have you felt lately like your intuition is trying to speak, but the noise around you keeps cutting it off? That's because you've entered the lunar threshold, a liminal space where the veil is thinning, but clarity hasn't fully arrived. If you act too fast now, you'll be acting from half-truths, premature energy. And what was meant to liberate you might become just another cycle. So here's what you must avoid on this day. Emotional multitasking. Don't try to process everything at once. Don't force clarity. Don't expect others to understand your mood. Your energy is recalibrating to meet a higher frequency, and it requires your full presence. That means no spiritual bypassing, no fake positivity, and no pretending you're okay when you're not. Honor the mess, but don't spill it everywhere. Also, be mindful of what you consume. Not just food and drink, but information, music, conversations, even social media. Everything you absorb today will seed your energetic field. If it's fear-based, chaotic, or disconnected, it will grow inside you and distort the messages that are trying to reach your soul. June 12th is about spiritual hygiene. Think of it as a fast, a cleanse, a reset. You're preparing your inner temple for something sacred. Treat it that way. Have you noticed how the world tends to get louder right before a shift? How everyone seems more reactive, more triggered, more desperate for validation? That's not a coincidence. It's the collective resistance to evolution. Because when the moon is about to rise, everything unresolved tries to speak at once. And if you're not careful, you'll end up absorbing what was never yours to begin with. That's why the silence of this day is a gift. It's not emptiness, it's protection. And if you honor it, if you let the external world fade into the background, you'll begin to hear what really matters, the truth your soul has been waiting to reveal. So avoid the pull of the urgent. Avoid people who drain, conversations that distract, and habits that numb. This day is sacred. Not because of what you do, but because of what you choose not to do. And if you protect your energy now, the full moon won't just reflect your light, it will respond to it. There is a kind of silence that isn't empty at all. It's full of codes, full of memory, full of divine instruction. And on June 12th, this sacred silence is the gateway. Not the moonlight itself, not the ritual under the stars, but the stillness that comes before. A stillness so deep, it begins to rearrange your nervous system, soften your resistance, and open you to truths you could never force your way into. But to reach it, you have to let the noise fall away, all of it. This is not the silence of ignoring your problems or pretending nothing is happening. It's the silence of finally listening. Listening not just to your thoughts, but to the space between them. The pause between inhale and exhale. The moment you're no longer reaching for something and you begin to feel what's already inside. And when you enter this space, this internal cathedral, everything outside starts to lose its grip. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to sit still when your heart is unsettled? How the moment you try to disconnect, your mind creates new reasons to stay busy? That's not coincidence. That's resistance. The ego thrives on noise, on activity, on constant feedback from the world to prove it exists. But the soul speaks only when you stop chasing. June 12th is a test, not of your strength, but of your willingness to trust the void. Can you sit in your own energy without rushing to fix it? Can you listen to your body without numbing it? Can you feel the discomfort and not run from it? Because just beyond that discomfort, just beyond the agitation, is the whisper, the message, the vision, the memory that wants to return to you. This is why silence isn't passive, it's alchemical. When you choose not to respond, not to explain, not to force understanding, you create space for your spirit to come forward. And in that space, healing becomes possible. Not surface-level healing, but the kind that rewires your timeline, the kind that comes not from effort, but from surrender. So how do you let the noise fall away? You unplug. From the digital world, from the mental chatter, from everyone's expectations of who you should be, you create small altars of presence, washing dishes with awareness, breathing deeply between tasks, laying in bed without picking up your phone, sitting outside and watching the light change. You don't have to escape to a forest to enter silence. You just have to stop betraying your need for it. Have you been craving quiet lately, even when everything around you tells you to keep going? That craving isn't weakness. It's your soul's cry for alignment. You are being called inward, not to avoid life, but to prepare for something greater. Because this silence is not the end. It's the threshold. And when you honor it, when you let everything else dissolve and meet yourself without filter, the full moon will not just shine over you. It will recognize you. Because only in silence can the truth be heard. and only in silence can you finally hear yourself. The full moon is not coming to give you clarity. It's coming to amplify what's already vibrating inside you. That means the night before is not the time to seek external answers, but to become the clearest channel you can possibly be. If your emotional body is cluttered, if your thoughts are knotted, if your spirit is weighed down by things you haven't released, the moon will not bring healing. It will bring overwhelm. And that's why June 12th matters more than most will ever realize. Your soul isn't asking for perfection, it's asking for space. Space to breathe, space to speak, space to rise to the surface without being drowned out by noise or distraction. This is where preparation begins, not in incense or crystals, but in the invisible realm of your inner environment. Ask yourself, if the moon could scan my soul tonight, what would it reflect back? Bitterness I haven't spoken aloud? Grief I've been hiding under control? Dreams I've abandoned out of fear? This is not about judgment, it's about readiness. The moon doesn't judge what she sees, she magnifies it. So the question becomes, are you ready to see it too? To prepare for this full moon, your work is to clear the static. Not by doing more, but by letting go of what no longer belongs. Let go of outdated narratives about who you think you need to be. Let go of the emotional debris you've been carrying for others. Let go of the tendency to define yourself by what you've survived instead of who you're becoming. This is the day for sacred subtraction, the art of removing, of detoxing not just your body, but your thoughts, of choosing silence over gossip, solitude over codependency, stillness over stimulation. The truth is, the more space you create within yourself, the more clearly the full moon can deliver its message. Have you ever noticed how the most profound insights arrive in the quiet moments? When you're walking alone, lying awake at night, or watching the sky without words? That's because your spirit doesn't shout. It waits for your attention. And if you keep it buried beneath mental chatter, it can't reveal what's ready to awaken. So take this day to fast from everything that dulls your sensitivity. Skip the small talk. Stay away from people who pull you into emotional cycles that no longer serve you. Drink more water. Light a candle with intention, not performance. Let your body speak and your intuition lead. You are not just preparing for a lunar event, you are aligning yourself with your next frequency. The full moon is not a reward, it's a mirror. And if you've spent June 12 honoring your inner voice, honoring your need for space, honoring your sacred sensitivity, then what the moon reflects will be pure, powerful, and meant for you. Your soul is not asking for another performance, it's asking for truth. Be the channel it can finally speak through. In the final hours before the full moon, one of the most revolutionary things you can do for your energy is this. Stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to justify why you need space, why you're quiet, why you're not answering messages, not showing up the way others expect. Because June 12th is not a time for negotiation. It's a time for inner obedience, the kind that doesn't seek approval, only alignment. You weren't meant to explain the sacred. You were meant to embody it. And some parts of your process cannot and should not be translated into words for others to understand. Because what's happening inside you now doesn't fit into polite conversation. It doesn't follow logic. It's spiritual metamorphosis. And trying to explain your transformation to someone still asleep in their patterns will only drain your light. Have you felt that pressure lately? To reassure others that you're okay, to soften your boundaries, to stay connected when your soul is screaming for distance? That pressure is not from your higher self. That's the pull of old cycles. The part of you that still fears abandonment, still wants to be understood, still believes you need permission to rest, to disconnect, to retreat. But here's what's real. Your energy doesn't need to be validated to be sacred, and your silence doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. This is the day to reclaim your sovereignty, to hold your stillness like a temple and refuse to let anyone trample through it with their confusion or need for explanation. Because this is the energetic threshold, the moment where the universe watches to see if you will choose yourself, if you will trust your own rhythm, if you will finally stop betraying your body's wisdom just to avoid disappointing others. You are not here to make everyone comfortable with your evolution. You are here to become whole, even if that means walking alone for a while. Let yourself be misunderstood. Let yourself be quiet. Let others think what they will. You are not available for emotional caretaking today. You are not here to shrink your process into digestible pieces for those who have not done the work. The full moon is not rising for the version of you that plays small. It's rising for the version of you that is ready to hold space for divine truth without apology. So if you feel the need to disappear for a moment, do it. If your phone feels like an energetic invasion, turn it off. If your heart longs to be alone with the sky, give it that space. The ones who love your soul will understand, or they will learn to. The ones who don't were never meant to walk through this portal with you. You don't need to explain your silence. You just need to honor it, because when the moon rises, she will explain everything. June 12th is not just a date. It's a bridge. A sacred pause between the weight of the past and the clarity of what's about to arrive. And while most will overlook this day, caught in routine or chasing distractions, your soul knows better. Your energy field is being rewired. Your inner system is being updated, quietly, gently, but irreversibly. This isn't something you'll necessarily see in the mirror. It's something you'll feel deep within, a subtle shift in how you respond, what you notice, what no longer tempts you. A sensitivity that once made you feel weak now becomes your power source. And what once triggered you into reaction now passes through without anchoring. This is not the product of effort. This is the reward of alignment. You didn't come here to survive cycles. You came here to complete them, and that's exactly what this sacred moment is offering you, a completion. A final breath before the full moon illuminates not just what needs to be healed, but what is finally ready to rise. But be mindful, spiritual recalibration doesn't always feel peaceful. Sometimes it arrives as disorientation, fatigue, emotional waves without context. Your body may crave more rest. Your thoughts may become quieter than usual. This is not regression, it's resurrection. Your nervous system is adjusting to carry more light. And light, when entering a previously shadowed space, will first stir the dust. Let it. Have you felt like you're between versions of yourself? Not quite who you used to be, but not fully arrived in who you're becoming. That's because your soul is mid-initiation. The old cords are detaching. The new grid is forming. You're not stuck. You're being recalibrated. And in this space, you must treat yourself like sacred technology. Handle your system with care. Get sunlight. Drink pure water. Speak kind words. Or no words at all. Surround yourself with nature, or beauty, or silence. You're not just preparing for a moon. You're syncing with a higher rhythm, one that moves slower, deeper, and far more intelligently than the fast-paced world ever will. The ones who ignore this moment will wake up after the full moon and feel emotionally scattered, disconnected from themselves. But you, if you honor this recalibration, will emerge clearer, lighter, and more aligned with your true frequency. Because this full moon doesn't come to give you what you want. It comes to reflect who you've become. And on June 12th, the question is not what ritual you should do, but whether you've made room in your soul to receive the truth it's ready to reveal. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are not lost. You are being rewritten by light. Let the upgrade happen. And when the moon rises, you won't just witness it, you'll recognize yourself in it.